I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but I've just been so dang busy. Today I have the combo deck. It is, if you're not familiar with it, it involves the Admiral Trench unit, the Sandhill unit, both from Twilight of the Republic, and Admiral Motti from Spark of Rebellion. There is a combo where if you have 7 resources, and you can have, through various methods, 7 units die, you can have Sandhill on the board and play a Motti, play the Admiral Trench, exploiting the Motti. The Motti readies the Sandhill. The Trench adds the Motti back to the hand. And then the Sandhill attacks and readies 7 resources for you. And then you play Motti again, and then you have to have a second Admiral Trench unit. And then that second Admiral Trench unit exploits the Motti. Since there's 2 trenches on the board, one of them has to die. The Motti readies Sandhill again. And then the second trench adds the first trench and the Motti back to the hand. There's actually various ways the combo can happen, you know, especially if you have more resources or if you already had a trench on the board. And you can also just play the deck mostly normal. And you can have, especially, and it's really good against control no matter what, because you can always just start looping just Admiral Trench and Motti on turns where like they killed one of your things, and then you just play a Motti, play a Trench, just have the Motti ready the Trench, and the Trench adds the Motti to the hand, and then hit them in the base with Trench. And then as long as you have another Trench in hand, then next turn when they kill that Trench, you just don't even care. You just play Motti and Trench again. Trench adds Trench and Motti back to your hand, and you can just keep having infinite resources and ways to kill control players. Of course, the deck struggles into aggro, but let's not tease you for too long. It's already been 2 minutes. Let's go to the list. Is this going to be the one we use? Is this the one we're using? This is the one we're using. Sorry, I had various different scenes open depending on the way I display the deck lists, but this is where I've gotten the deck to so far. So one of the reasons I use Admiral Trench as the leader is there's lots of ways to, you have more health, but you also can cycle cards to get to the combo. And you also have infinite deploys with Admiral Trench as well. And you can also deploy Admiral Trench to potentially find a combo piece. You know, maybe your opponent lets you add one to hand. And also, it's Trench is another body that you can exploit. This is just where things began, and this is with Admiral Trench leader as far as this combo goes. But this is where the deck I got the deck list to at this point. The sideboard's not real; they're just other cards that I've tried. Now, so I'm going to go through some things, and then I'm going to tell you about how somebody in a Discord made me realize that this is probably not the leader to use. And I'll go over that in just a couple of minutes because we have almost all the same cards in the same deck. So I'm just going to explain some cool stuff to you. Okay. So with the release of Secrets of Power, there are a lot of really cool synergies and I don't know, just pieces that work together that haven't really worked together this well in like any deck ever. You could argue that the Rebel package in Sabine is kind of like the most synergistic deck that exists as far as within the mechanics or keywords or traits in the game that they've given us. But it's very few. It's really just Wing Leader, Fleet Lieutenant, and Rebel Assault. But with the release of Secrets of Power, there's some cool stuff with all these official synergies, okay? So lots of officials in this deck. And the combo is, they're all officials. Admiral Trench is an official. Sandhill is an official. Motti is an official. Well, we have a new 3-cost event, Convene the Senate, that's a law that says search the top 8 cards of your deck for up to 2 official units, reveal them, draw them, and create a spy token. There's so many cool synergies in here. Obviously, it can search for your combo pieces. It'll also make a spy token, which you can use to exploit to do the combo. It also costs 3. So if you just don't need this, or you're playing against aggro, you need to just find Overwhelming Barrage or something, you can just discard it with Admiral Trench and find those other pieces. It's really cool. Next, we'll go over the rest of the laws. I Am the Senate is a law. Pay 6, create 5 spy tokens. Now, there's a conflict in here with that costing 6 and the 6 resource being the first turn that you can deploy Admiral Trench. This is also mostly just as a synergy piece with Orn Frita up here, which is an official that when played searches the top 10 cards of your deck for a law and puts it in your hand. So you can do that. You can just discard I Am the Senate to filter through the deck even more if you need. And Orn Frita also gains a power for every law in your discard. And Trench Mills cards, you also are just going to play some of the laws. So Orn Frita ends up being like a solid card. Not on turn 1, but throughout the game. And then Charged with Corruption and Bogged Down in Procedure have actually turned out to be pretty solid cards. So Charged with Corruption has you disclose 2 command cards, or command symbols. And if you do, a friendly unit captures an enemy unit. There's no restrictions. No, not non-vehicle, not in the same arena, or less power health, nothing. Obviously, it can't be a leader. But it's capturing is actually solid, and especially in a deck that is trying to just stay alive long enough to just pull the combo off. And then Bogged Down in Procedure exhausts a unit, and if you disclose just a single cunning symbol, you can exhaust another unit. We just need to buy time, especially against people who are just in the opposite arena of us. It also costs 3. It's also a law that we search off of Orn Frita. It's pretty cool. And then some more synergies are the Nubian Starskiff. If you control an official unit, it gets Restore 2. It's also just a 4/4 in space, which can kill Millennium Falcons. And Restoring 2 is really strong. Like, we have 1 million official units. It's going to be able to restore us. Like I said, we need to stay alive. And then next up here at the top, we have Favorable Delegate, Major Partagas, Poggle the Lesser, all our officials. We've got more delaying tactics with Frozen and Carbonite and Outmaneuver. Outmaneuver is a recently new addition to this. It's also another 3 cost, so if you don't need it, you can discard to cycle with Trench. And then, excuse me, it's late. Rush Clovis here, also an official, and can potentially make you a token that you can exploit to do the combo. All right, yada, yada, yada. And also Major Partagas can actually, because we play so many officials, you can just kill people with Major Partagas. You don't even have to do a combo. So here we go. Let's get into how everything changed, okay? We spoke with somebody in a Discord because I was sharing this, and they're like, have you thought about Dryden boss? And I was like, I didn't. I haven't thought about it. Well, tell what are you thinking? And this is crazy. Okay. So one thing you're going to notice, they didn't give me their list. I just kind of took what I had going, had to cut, 10 cards and also just reconfigure it slightly for Dryden. And they were telling me on the 7 resource, if you deploy Dryden and you deploy the Chancellor Palpatine through plot, you'll have 4 units on the board, and you will have 4 resources still up. And then, because of Dryden's effect, you can ambush Sandhill from your hand. he costs more than 5, but it doesn't matter because on Dryden's flip side, he lets you ambush any cost and discard any card. So you can discard a card to play Sandhill. Playing him, you can still exploit. So you can exploit the Chancellor and the 2 spies. And immediately, obviously, the trick here is your opponent does have to have a unit you can attack into. And you need to somewhat action churn because you don't want them to be able to attack back and then kill Sandhill afterwards either. So there's still some variables, but that will immediately refund you those 3 resources that you spent to play the Chancellor, because now you have killed 3 of your own units and Sandhill attacks, readies 3 of them. You're back at 7. So what you do now is you can play Motti, you can play Trench from your hand, and then ready the Sandhill, attack again with the Sandhill. Now you have 4 units that have died, and so now you'll ready 4 resources. But if you can, you're gonna need a couple more units to still die to get the full loop going. But just right here can get things started, and it, depending on the resources your opponent has played, you're gonna have a way to have actions to either commit to the combo or not, but it just gets the combo started easier, instead of normally you have to play just a Sandhill, it doesn't attack, and then you have to have 4 other things die of yours before you can start doing the combo. But Dryden just, when he flips, he enables it a little bit easier. Now, of course, you could flip Dryden and your opponent can Rivals Fall. And, that sucks. But that's 6 resources. You still have 3 units on the board. You still have 4 resources. You can still play stuff, and, hopefully they don't have a gigantic board and they're not just killing you, but, you can still just combo on a later turn. But this is what I have got for that build. You'll notice it's a lot of the same cards. A lot of some stall cards. We have a favorable delegate to try to find combo pieces faster. We had to trim down on some of the laws because we needed to get resupply and super laser technician in here. And we didn't want 3 overwhelming barrages because we're trying to ramp and we're trying to play units. And 2 is fine. If you really want, it wouldn't offend me to cut an I am the Senate for an overwhelming barrage or even an outmaneuver. This is not the most, 1,000 games haven't been played on this, right? This is just for the combo seekers like myself that enjoy working way too hard to kill your opponent. So, yeah, this is it. This Dryden deck obviously is not taking the full use of Dryden across the game, because our only 6+ cost cards are two of them are combo pieces and the other one is I am the Senate. But it's mostly for the flip. Like I said, you flip and then you can ambush Sandhill. And the other thing is, I guess the most ideal curve is, since you're not Admiral Trench and you deploy on 7, you can actually just play I am the Senate on the 6 resource turn, and then the next turn you flip, and you certainly have enough units to die, and your opponent probably has a board, and you can just crash them in and ambush Sandhill. You should have plenty of resources, or plenty of units die, so that when Sandhill attacks, you ready all your resources and start the Motti Trench combo. Anyways, finally, I'm so sorry it took me so long to get another video out in general. And I know that this video, it's not going to appeal to a wide audience, but it is something I enjoy. It's certainly not meta. especially because there's not anywhere near enough people working on it to be meta. The strongest decks are stuff that and tons of people are testing, they find out are good, they top an event, so then tons of people see it, and then even more people start playing it and testing it, and then it gets even stronger and stronger and stronger. That's not happening with this deck currently, and possibly never will. But if you want to pull off a fun combo, and especially if you want to play at locals and, you know, there's no stakes, you're just chilling, getting, you know, a pack per win or something, and you're relaxing. I mean, you might not be relaxing too much with this deck because it's still pretty hard and you have to think really hard to make sure you don't mess up your combo and do things in the wrong order, but it's really fun when you pull it off. So with that, that's going to be the end of this one. Thank you for hanging out. You, if you want, you can push that button. You know what I'm talking about. And I'll make another one soon. I've really been playing a lot of Dedra. Dedra's really cool. I want to build like a blue mid-range version of her because I know the hard control is good, but I just don't really want to play that, especially at locals. Yeah. All right. That's it. See ya.